So today we're going to talk about evaluations. When you give presentations, you want evaluation. You want that, what I call that humble critiquing, but you want to have constructive criticism because it is what makes you better as an academic, as a student, as a person. Anyone who gives any type of presentation desires that type of feedback. That feedback makes you better. And so, with anything that we're doing, we want to make sure that it is serving and reaching the audience the best way possible. So, sometimes that requires us to have someone take a peek in and just say, how effective was my presentation? How effective was my speech? How effective was my motions or my voice inflections? And how were you able to grasp the material that was being presented? And so all of these things through this type of warm criticism or warm critiquing makes you not only a better speaker, but it gives you more confidence to go out and do presentations in the future. Now, there are some people out there that will give you the red pen mentality, and they will almost want to butcher you and really critique you, and they take it to a more personal level. And because of that, a lot of people will shy away from doing public presentations or doing any type of public speaking or presenting because for everyone is not gifted with that ability to just talk on the fly. They're not gifted with that ability to be able to instantaneously connect with people. Some people, it takes work. It takes a great amount of work. It takes a great amount of confidence, and it takes an even greater amount of practice and patience to get to where you want to be. And so I always look at presentations as doing many interviews where you have, like I mentioned earlier in my videos, you have that 30-second elevator speech. And that was one thing that I always want to lecture. And what I learned and gleaned in my own experience is how well can you do this in 30 seconds or less? And so for student presentations, and I really look at this as peer-to-peer evaluating. It gives you a better sense of how your own fellow students that are on your level can help to make you better. And I think that's the one thing in any class is that you should always strive to be better. Whether you're giving a presentation in front of a Fortune 500 company, or whether you're giving a lecture or a presentation inside of your English class or speech class, it should help you build the confidence and the skills by your peers telling you, man, we love it. This is what you got to do. Man, it was okay, but focus and tighten up on this. But that's the hearer. But now here's the other part of this. The other part is now the receiver. How do you receive this criticism? Now, some people, they don't take criticism well. They think that because you are critiquing their work and it may not be as favorable as what they appear that it should be, that they take it personal and they say, oh, you just don't like me. Oh, you're just nitpicking. Oh, you're just because they don't understand how to accept that criticism, how to accept that critiquing, because they're not critiquing you to tell you everything that you've done wrong. They're critiquing you to make sure that you can get it right. And wherein is a difference. On the other side of that, you have the critiquing that comes from your instructor or your professor. Now, I'm looking at it at a totally different way because I have to grade you. And so in the midst of this grading, or you're at a presentation or an ad, you're selling a product and you're trying to convince the people that they should go with your product. So if you don't do a good job with getting that product sold or getting that marketing piece accepted, then it bodes worse for you because you're paid to do this job. But on the academic side of this is all of a greater learning experience where we're all learning from each other, trying to excel, trying to help each other get over these hurdles. And so, yes, the receiver has a lot to do with how high that hurdle is. For if you're able to accept, this what I call the humble, communicate, or the humble critique, or the friendly exercise of improvement from your peers, then your hurdle is very low. But if you are just in your feelings and you just feel that whatever you present is almost like Picasso's masterpiece or the next Michelangelo painting, then your bar is way too high and you will never be able to come down from that ladder because it is so high. It is insurmountable for anyone to be able to tell you anything about how you could even try to improve yourself. And so it does create a lot of that different symbolism and a lot of those different problems. But once again, it's up to the hearer to be kind. It's up to the reviewer to be firm. But then it's also for the receiver to be receptive to hearing all of these words, good, bad, and indifferent. As long as it's done in that professional manner, and that's the key, as long as it's done in that professional manner, in a fair manner of evaluating. And that's where a lot of times we see our biggest gaps, is because we don't know how to evaluate fair. We evaluate based on how we like someone. We evaluate someone based on whether they talk to us all the time. We evaluate people based on more social indicators more than the knowledge, skills, and ability indicators. So if they're not cool with me, then I'm more willing to not give them a more fair evaluation. But if you're my drinking buddy on the weekends, or my texting buddy, then I'll have a harder time doing the evaluations. And so even for students, as you learn, evaluations and the evaluator should be the most impartial person as possible. So even as I evaluate, I must evaluate impartially. I can't give points to the student that I think will do, or I think that will do, because I have to eliminate the I from it. It is solely based on the ability to hear the presentation or the topic matter, to apply whether it is relevant to the assignment that has been given, and then to be able to honestly evaluate it and critique it based on that method. Because we're going to work and we're going to mingle around with people that we may not necessarily like, but it should not influence the way that we do the evaluation. And so this is all a part of learning how to do, even on the academic side, scholarly types of evaluating a presentations and speeches and writings and readings, to, once again, not to break you down, but to build you up to become the best person that you can be.